one of the first important questions you want to answer is, what business am I starting, right? I go from that less fuzzy job title, business type, right? One-liner, right? Thank you, Al. And who you're helping, right? Who am I supposed to be helping? Not everybody in the general public, because that tends to be everyone. And then I'm going to be nobody to everyone. And then what am I supposed to be doing in my business anyway? Like there might be, what you might be experiencing is that you might be doing too many things. You might be solving too many problems. You might be, in a position where you think you have to offer everything. And that is also what makes your business feel really fuzzy. Another question I think you want answered is, how do you stand out, right? So we talked about sort of that sea of sameness, right? How do I stand out when others do what I do, right? When there's other people out there that has the same type of business, there's, hundreds of people out there globally that do what I do. How do I make this business personal for me and something that I know that I can be positioned uniquely to serve, even when there's other people that do what I do? And a question of, what do you offer, right? That might be also a question you have in mind today. What do I offer and how can I charge for it? How can I make sure that what I'm building right now, putting the time and effort in, is worth my time? And making sure that if I was to quit my job, right, and focus on this 100%, or be able to launch that side hustle of this business while going to work and working full time, I need to be confident, right? You need to be confident on what you offer and what you want to charge for it. And then the last question, how will I show up, right? Like I think a lot of people that are starting a business for the first time will have a little bit of anxiety around getting clients and how to do that and get noticed as a new business. And again, because if you've never been an entrepreneur before, it's your first time starting a business, it's sort of a skill to learn, to know how to market yourself, to sell your services, to back your expertise, to know where to find contacts and referrals and partners and collaborators and clients, because you've never had to do that before. You've very likely, as an employee, went for an interview, maybe got a recruiter, right? That's the way you found a job and got paid. So as a business owner, there's all these other skills that you'll have to learn in order to advocate your work, right? And go to certain places, whether it's online or physical places, to be found in your business. And how to do this as well if you're someone like an introvert, right? Someone that isn't always a big promoter at heart, right? A lot of my clients, I work with about 80% introverts. And I know this is one of the big questions that really trumps them. It's like, how do I be who I am as an introvert, use my way of wanting to market and sell and not feel like a sleazeball, right, doing it? If anyone else has that issue as well, I'm sure can resonate with that. So who am I? And if you guys don't know who I am at this point, and it's your first training with me, I want to kind of go through very quickly why I'm teaching these subjects and what do I know in order to develop, right, something that's going to help you launch that business and start replacing your corporate income and having that lifestyle freedom that you want. So I'm obviously the founder of Screw the Cubicle. I've spent the last 5 years crusading as the freedom instigator. And what I primarily do is I use my huge genius zone of being a skill spotter. So I'm really good at when you tell me your career story, when you tell me things you have deep interest in, it's like my mind starts to really piece together the puzzle pieces of what links a lot of your jobs together. And from your life story, I can usually hear a lot of clues into how your career so far will be leading you in the next chapter of your body of work. Now, I think very likely I've been really good at this skill is because I spent, in a way, the first 2 years of my own business. When I first had a business, it was not Screw the Cubicle, it was a different business. I was really trying to make sense of like why my resume looked like it was for 8 people and what the hell was I supposed to be doing next that felt meaningful. That was the other part, was matching skills and strengths with meaning. Because what I discovered about someone that's built like me is that I can't do work unless it's also purposeful. Yes, it's got to make money. I need money. I want money. I like money. I hope you do too. But I'm not willing to do work that I don't enjoy. I'm not willing to work with people I don't like. I'm not willing to be advocating for causes I don't really stand behind. So that marriage of being good at something and having deep interest and being able to make an impact, right, on a personal level and global level, that was an important kind of three-prong approach that I needed in order to understand what's next for me in my career. So that's what I've been spending the last almost 5.5 years actually doing, is specializing in this area, right? Repurposing people's skills that they bring from corporate into a business that they want to start, and designing a model of making a living in a much more meaningful way, right? Profit and purpose. Hopefully that's what you guys value too. And all of that really leads to the message that I come with, which is I believe that everyone should have their version of a lifestyle freedom life that they want. And for me, that's location independent lifestyle. What that means is that even though I'm from Canada, Vancouver, and I have family and friends there, I really want to explore the world. I have a home base in Bali. I'm in Europe, also other parts of the year. And I like this idea of the world being a much smaller place than I imagine it to be. And this idea of global citizenship really intrigues me. I love learning about new cultures. I think you can really develop your sense of self when you get out of your comfort zone, get out of familiar territory, and get out of your hometown and go and travel and explore and see that sometimes even cost of living, right? All sorts of ways to make your life easier, and maybe even early retirement can be very possible for you if you weren't to pay huge rental prices in New York or LA or wherever you come from. And so this whole advocacy I have around helping people build mobile lifestyles, mobile businesses, so they can have whatever lifestyle they want. That's sort of a big part of my mission with the work that I do. But I think for my other clients, right, maybe you're here, you're a mom, you're someone that actually don't want to move and travel in a bunch of different places, but what you do want is to be at home or to raise your children by being available and present for them. Whatever it is, when I say location independent lifestyle, I mean autonomy and flexibility over your time and where you put your energy. A huge believer around my work is that the future of work is an opportunity right now for lots of people that are in the human-driven services to really thrive. We get a bit angsty when we think about, robots, technology, right? How certain jobs and processes and steps are being taken over by automation and technology hugely. I mean, things have become more streamlined, more easier. I mean, I was at the airport at Singapore a couple months ago, and you don't even need to see a visa agent. You just literally scan your passport. It's a machine, the gates open, and away you go, right? So you don't even need a human to verify that anymore. And so there's this question of like, what sort of jobs are being replaced and what's going on in the future. And to me, it's that actually this is a huge opportunity for this gap in the market, right? Where a lot more human-driven services, right? People that are in the business of helping other people, where there's deep empathy that might need to be involved, where there's personalization and resonance that needs to happen with things like a service-based business. Well, for now, robots haven't yet replaced that. So that's really, in my opinion, these niches that require the human touch, right? Even what used to be automated, right? Things like, like if you were to look at marketing, for example, where, people could have used technology to automate lead generation or how to obtain customers. Yes, they've tried those technologies, but a lot of people still really crave a human person helping them out. And I think the more and more we are technology driven, the more we also crave this connection to other humans, because our world is so digital. Right. So in my opinion, this is going to be a really amazing time for people who are willing to do the work, willing to be out there to serve, humans in a deeper way, in a much more transformational way. It's going to really, really do great in the business, world, and to be able to really make great money in a meaningful and fulfilling way as well. So as we start today, one of the things that, the 4 things that we are going to be talking about is these 4 essential steps to launch with head and heart. And what I mean by head and heart is that we're going to think about action, right? Real, practical, actionable things that we can do, but we also want it to be inspired by something deeper than just a bunch of doingness, right? So a lot of what I'm going to be teaching you today is really going to be about, yes, good, practical, imperfect action, but we want to really think about that action to make it really relatable to the business we want to start and our values of the work we want to do and what feels right for us when we do it. right? So it's not really, these steps aren't really these paint by numbers, follow exactly and swipe files, and now you're going to build this amazing business. Like the way that I believe business is going to be sustainable for you is if you marry, right, your head and your heart. If you come with both, so there's a reason for that, right? The head is really what's logical, strategic, it makes you move, but the heart is what sort of drives the reason and meaning behind your action. So start to really think about some of these questions I'm going to ask you today, right? And some of the strategic steps we talk about. Make this step, right? The strategic step really means something to you for your type of business, right? For the way that you want to operate in your business as well. So the first essential step to really create and launch a business is we've got to make meaning with our work, right? This is your deep why, right? Which is going to marry the idea of profit and your purpose, right? Yes, profitability and making money is a good why, but it can't be your only why, because especially as you're starting a business for the first time, it's going to take a while for you to start to at least about 3 to 6 months for you to start gaining traction, right, on getting your first client. And replacing your income might take 6 to 12 months, depending on how often you're working in your business and what sort of business type you're starting, right? So a business worth building needs to have both. It needs to be profitable and it needs to be purposeful, so that you can be sustainable with your business, not just on a purpose of like, okay, I know why I'm starting this business, but when you have things like a deep interest in the industry or the problem that you solve, and there's like a deeper reason than just making money. There's a cause that you want to back. There's a meaningful problem that you want to solve. There's a group of people that you feel really called, right, to serve. There's a reason to wake up, and there's a reason to sort of get going even when the going gets tough, right? And when you have that kind of deep interest and you know your reason to do it, why you're backing this cause, there's also lots of bright ideas that come from there, right? Lots of times you're going to be reading, researching, going to workshops, or right, learning and immersing yourself in the subject that's actually going to really enhance your capabilities and your mastery, right? To do good work for a long amount of time. It's not going to lose its traction, in 2-3 years' time, because it's only sort of just to make money, right? So if you're in that mode of discerning your ideas, picking a business to start, maybe you have 3-4 different ideas, that's a big one to think about. Is this a business type or an idea that I can see myself doing at least, right, for the next 5 to 10 years, right? Is it something that I can see myself growing, expanding from there, where it can grow into a bigger body of work that I can potentially really take to the next level every single year? So you need to understand at this point of the game, right, in the beginning of starting a business, and you might have even started a business. I mean, I sure as hell did this and never realized my why, and that's why I hated my first business so much. If you are here, whether you're starting a business for the first time, or you started a business, but something still feels a bit unclear, right? It still feels a bit unmotivating for you or not inspirational. You want to ask yourself why your business exists. Why does your business exist? And what are you called to help in the business that you're starting? So again, don't rely on job titles like I'm a web designer. No, maybe your business exists is because you particularly want to help, let's say, women founders or women entrepreneurs that are coaches, or women entrepreneurs who are therapists, because there's a reason why you want to help that niche or industry or that group of people or that cause, right? What is beyond just the thing that you do? What's the ripple effect to a bigger cause, right? So to me, on the naked eye, it looks like I'm, a business coach, right? A corporate escape strategist, right? This is sort of what people know me as. But on a personal why, for me, I know it is about lifestyle freedom. I know it is about providing more flexible choices for people to raise their families without having to rush back to work after mat leave. I know it's about people not paying high amounts of taxes and, living in expensive cities and having all their income really go into living costs. And why I'm helping people build mobile businesses is so that they can get out of expensive cities and live wherever they choose and have a much bigger, right, expansion into the world. Like, that is really the reason why I'm using business, small business, entrepreneurship tips and advice to help people get to that bigger goal, And so knowing that personal why of why you should wake up in the morning, what's your work going to really transform in the bigger picture of a cause that you want to back in the world, will really make it meaty, right? For you in terms of knowing your why and your purpose. And it's also easier for you to articulate why the hell you're starting your business to friends and family, to clients that can also feel like they're in alignment, with that piece of reason of why your business should exist. And that leads you to really, when you know why your business should exist, you can also be able to translate that to the right people that should care about that cause, the people you want to help, right? The people that you don't have to convince that this purpose is meaningful, right? They believe it too. But these people who you're going to be helping, who's going to pay you for your type of help, whatever service it is that you are starting, they should also know how it impacts them. Right? Why your business should exist, that can be a personal why to you. And why should people care is how does it transform the customers that you're going to help, right? What actually really happens to them? How are they thinking differently? How are they, behaving differently? How are they looking at the world differently from your services, from the help that you provide them? And why will your work matter to their overall happiness? So again, taking the example of a website designer, okay, the end of results, they get a website, but then so what? What happens then? Does it mean that as a female entrepreneur, she can sort of rest assured that there's clients coming in through a beautiful website because it's done well, where clients can get her story really well, they understand and resonate with her message, and they're going to book, right, sessions with her, and she's going to make great money and be a happier business owner? Like, what really happens from not just the obvious thing that you do for your clients, but how you do it, right? Like the outcomes and the goals that you help them to achieve. What else happens to the rest of their life, to their overall happiness, that is beyond just the little obvious thing that you do for them? So overall, when you can express, right, why your business should exist and why people should care, your message, that big message, is going to be what attracts your tribe. Right? You're no longer just going to be a sort of like, right, one-trick pony kind of a business owner, right? So for example, with my niche, right, being a business coach, being a corporate escape strategist, there's lots of people out there doing the same thing, but not everybody sort of lives in Bali. Not everybody's a huge advocate for location independency. Not everybody talks a little bit about lifestyle freedom, right, as much as I do. And so that is the part that actually makes you different. And that is the part of what I talk about a lot in podcast interviews or my blogs and so forth, because that concept, that bigger message about what's going to really change in your life, that's going to be a lot more juicier for them to really understand, and then think about, how do I get there? Okay, through a business, right? Through being able to be my own boss, I can have those decisions to have that lifestyle freedom. But we've got to plant the seed, right, on that why and the deep purpose for why they should do what they do and why you're the right person to help them. That is really what's going to set your business apart and helps you feel right, fulfilled in what you're really building for other people. So part of your foundations and part of that, purpose and why in this big part of making meaning, right, to what you do, is you need to start to think about what your unique value is in the business you're starting, so that you can start to really take stock, right? A lot of people don't do this right away, and then they tend to feel overwhelmed or nervous when there's other people that are competitors, or, there's a lot of people that do what they do. But they don't take the time, and I hope you do that today, is to extract some of those strengths that you've come with, that you bring to the table, right? That is knowledge, that is experience, that is specific skill sets that you have, and not just using one type of skill, but actually a combination of certain types of skills that actually makes your strengths much better. So for example, as again, using the web designer example, right? If you are a great web designer, but you're also an excellent storyteller, right? You're really good at getting the heads of people's minds and understanding what are the stories that resonate most with their hearts. Marrying that kind of strength or skill together with this, hard skill of web design is going to help you to set apart that you're not just designing any site that looks good, you're designing really epic sites that tell a great story. And so people that want that, brands that rely on storytelling to really land clients, that's really going to be someone that resonates with you, and that sets you apart from any other web designer out there. Your approach really matters as well in your unique value, right? How you utilize your strengths to get people to results, right? So how someone designs a website could be different than yours. And you may have a process. You may have a way of how you pull information out from your clients. You may have a way that you use different types of assessments or concepts or modalities that really help your work to be effective, and it gets people to results faster. I want you to really think about what your approach may be in your business, because that's going to be one of the big key points and key selling points of why people should work with you. And then lastly, your unique value is including your perspective, like your point of view, what you think matters, even if it's an unpopular thought, even if someone else out there isn't thinking what you're doing, what you're thinking. You need to have a voice. You need to have a point of view that you're bravely going to share out there. And then you're going to be attracting the right people that really get that point of view, or they're like, oh, thank God you said that, right? So if you don't have a voice, if you don't have a different opinion in the marketplace, and all you talk about is just your offer, right? And you don't really talk about other ways that, of doing things better that might not be what everyone else knows how to do, or is an approach that really works, but is more holistic than something quick and fast and dirty, right? Like those thoughts will really bring in the right customers that believe in the values that you believe in. And that's so important in working with the right people. So after that first essential step of making meaning to your work, you now have a little bit more of a clearer context about what are you willing to do? What do you want to do? Who is it for, right? And why specifically that you want to do it, why it matters to other people. So essential step number 2 is really then understanding that data that you've just reflected on, and then being able to laser focus on a niche that really brings out your strengths. And your best niche really encompasses the right audience, the right person you're going to help, right? Not everybody, the right type of person. And then also it's the right problem. Not all the problems this person has, but one part of the pie of the problem. That's urgent, and it's something that you're willing to do, right? Something that you're inspired to work on. And of course, the third piece of your best niche is you're going to have the right solution, the right approach, the right answer, the right piece of solving that problem that you actually really know how to do, right? It's part of your experience. It is part of something you've known how to do before, whether you've done it for yourself or been paid to do it, doesn't matter. You've got experience, right? Providing that solution. And it's really specific, right? To that right person and that right specific problem. And it's coming at the right time for a solution. So this is what your niche really looks like, rather than things like, oh, it's a a demographic of 30 years old to 40 years old of a female person from here and here and here. It really is about problems and particular stages of problems that a particular audience has. Yes, demographic can be helpful sometimes to be like, hey, I'm working with midlife people, or I'm working with millennials, or working with baby boomers, right? You can definitely have a bit of a descriptor about who it is that you want to work with, but really thinking about the right problem and the right solution for that particular problem is going to be even more helpful for you to define your niche. So in order to kind of know the problem, start with the person you want to help first, right? Because it's almost like know the person first, then know the problem. Or sometimes you could switch it around depending on how your brain works. But I find that thinking about who you want to actually help is really important to start, because then you can really dig into what that person really needs. So a big standout tip is it's easier to create for an audience of one. When you are thinking about one specific profile of a person, one particular woman that you want to help or a man that you want to help, and if it's even better that you know a person that represents that profile, a real person that you've met or have worked with, or, just know in your life, then you can just think about him or her. It's Tim. Tim's the one that needs help around this thing. And I'm just going to think about Tim the whole time, right? And make sure that I'm serving what he needs. And it's so easier to create for a Tim than just a bunch of people in this demographic that has this issue, right? And when you work for an audience of one, when you think about just serving one type of customer, that Tim, right, that you're serving represents actually a group of people that's just like him. So as long as you're able to serve Tim, you will be serving a bunch of people that are like him, and you will attract the right people that are like him. So don't try to think about who should I help and what do they want in a sort of vague, open level, right? And that's going to be easy. So Chuck just said in the chat box that you're talking about creating user stories for sure. And I think we all have different types of users. Like, you have primary users, right? Primary audiences as well, right? Just like a user for a website, you can think of a client of how they use your services, right? And obviously, you want to focus like majority of your effort on your primary audience, right? Your first best type of audience that you're thinking about, but you might have secondary audiences, right? That you're really working with. But you want to think about their lives. They're going to think about why they need your service, and each person's motivation, right, and reason to work with you might be different. They might all need the same thing, but that motivation and what inspires them to want to do this urgently will be different. And creating those messages to be specific to those users, right, or the users you pick as your primary and secondary audience is going to be so important in that, again, deep resonance, right, of your business to attract the right person. So if you're like, oh my God, who is my ideal client? I feel like it's everyone. I want you to take a bit of a pause and think about this, okay? And very likely, and again, for me, working with hundreds of business owners in different types of business models, 90% of the time, the ideal client is a version of who they are. And the reason why that's easier for most people is because very likely especially if you're starting a business that's sort of like, maybe it's like you solved a pain for yourself. There's something like, screw the cubicles, a bit like that. Like I was having a hard time figuring out a business to start, but no one was there to help me with the sort of career piece, a meaningful piece, and a strategic business piece. And I created Screw the Cubicle because of that, to fill that missing gap that I was missing. So basically, what I was really doing is I was solving a problem for myself 2-3 years ago, right, when I started Screw the Cubicle. And I just have to think of myself, really, like, what did Lydia need at that time? What was missing for her? What would be the messaging and the offer that would really make the difference for her getting to her goals faster? And very likely you might be doing that if you're starting that kind of business, right? Where you're solving a pain point that you've already solved for yourself in some regard. And you're looking for customers that was a version of you, years ago, whenever that starting point is for you to work with them right now. And what I mean by a ideal client is a version of you is also that they will very likely share common values with you. You don't have to explain to them why you do what you do and how you do it, because they kind of go, me too. I like that idea, right? So for me, one of the big values I have around my business is that I am not building any business for people that just want to make money, and that's their sole motivation. It has to be people like me, right, that actually can't get up to work unless there's something meaningful to work on, and they're proud. Proud is the big piece of their work. If they just want to make money while they sleep, right, just lay on a beach all day and make some passive income, go and do something else. And that's something that I can't help you with. But if you're into service-based, you're into, you actually like working and you want to create something to contribute into the world that you can make money from and build a great lifestyle around, then you're talking my language, right? And we can totally work together. So think about who your ideal customer is, and it might be actually you from many years ago, or someone that really helps to, that really has a type of life or is in a life stage, right? Or values the types of things that you value. That's going to make that ideal client so much easier to work with. And then when you can pinpoint and laser focus on who the ideal customer is, then you can really think about what the hell pains them, what is keeping them up at night, right? What are some of the issues and problems that they really want to get solved? And when you look at all these slew of problems that a person can come with, right? That they want to get to a particular result or a goal, but they've got like 8 obstacles in front of them, right? You can choose at this point, and part of your niche is actually about making a choice. It's about picking a piece that you want to be known for, right? Now, for example, in business coaching, God, there are so many ways to coach business. There's so many ways to do things. Now, I particularly want to focus on the piece of foundations. I know that in order to build a great business, because I've struggled with it for many years and I know firsthand what that meant, you've got to build a good solid foundation. It's like building a house, right? If you decorate it with things like marketing and a great website, it's still not going to save you from a shitty, unsolid foundation that has no reason to start. There's no purpose behind that business. You don't know how to articulate your vision and your message. Doesn't matter how shiny and beautiful your house looks like. You're not going to have a really great business to sell anything that's really, truly transformative to your client. So I know that piece of the pie, that's the part I'm most interested to work on because it's more holistic. It's very specific to that person and that business type or that human behind the business. And I feel called to do that part because it's all about that alignment of that person's personal purpose in their work with a practical business they should be starting. Not what they have to start, but what they want to start. That feels good to me. And so I really just stop at that piece. The minute they go into wanting Instagram marketing or copywriting or web design or all those different things, I don't do that. I have people I recommend for that, but this is the piece that I specialize in, and I get better at it because I'm specializing in it only. So I would like that for you too, where you can pick a piece to be known for that piece, and you can really master that part of the problem. And people get to know you more, right? People really see you as the expert in that part of your niche. So specialization really gets your business found more easily, right? If you're everything to everybody, it doesn't hit the mark for people and they just don't get it and they can't set you apart from the sea of sameness. So finding that right customer, picking that specific problem, right, is going to be so important for you to understand what's the right solution and what's the right niche that you should be focusing on. And if you're unsure about who these people are, what their problems are, one of the things that people really don't do and spend the time doing is learning to ask before you create. I spend an immense amount of time coaching my clients to learn how to ask better questions. It's not something we are used to doing, I think. And when we don't ask our best customers or people in real life that represent our best customers about what it is that they suffer with, what it is that is in the obstacles, right, between them and the goal that they want to get to, we're kind of creating offers blindly. We're like, I think this is what people want. It worked for me. Maybe it works for other people. But that's not the responsible way to create an offer that you know can be validated, that is meant to be, to be the thing you create. Not because you think you should create that or have a hint that that you think that's the solution. It's actually you going straight to the horse's mouth, learning to ask and do real market research, to talk to real humans that represent your niche audience and be able to ask great questions and better probing questions to really dig into what it is that you really need to create as a solution to bring them to results faster. And let me tell you, the idea of market research in terms of interviews and surveys and learning how to do that properly is so valuable and beneficial for your business because you can do this going forward for any offer that you create, for anything, brand position even, of where people should see you. Like that is, you want to learn to ask your customers so that they can tell you what they want. Isn't that easier to create when you know what it is that people want instead of guessing? Right? So then marketing becomes more confident, your sales becomes more confident, and you know that the offer you're creating is going to sell, right? We all want that for you. So after you do all that, right, after you find that niche, know that audience, being able to articulate the problems that you're solving and the right solutions to solve them, here is where you can start to create a big piece of what's going to make you such a valuable business, which is to stand out with a signature offer, right? And a signature offer is way beyond your hourly rate. It is an experience that you design to bring the most value to your customers. Because at the end of the day, your customers, when they come to your business, they're not buying just your time, not buying your hours. They're buying a complete experience that is going to lead them through a journey of how they get to their goals, right? It's not just a hour by hour value. It's really all of it, this overall piece that is from the moment that they get onboarded to your business or, right, to be a client of yours to the moment they finish, right? What they do and what happens all in between. There's a bit of a map of an experience of what needs to happen. And so when you look at your offer, less of like charging by session or charging by hour, you can be empowered to really create a much bigger solution for people. Really go there, offer them the deep dives, offer them to solve, the problems more intimately or intensely, right? And really look and see where you can really bring the most value in the way you communicate, in the way you assess them, in the way of what you help to solve along the way in that customer journey that's going to lead them to the results, and be able to talk about that really, really well. That's what's really going to sell your offers. And when you have a signature offer, right, that is like, this is the thing, you can only work with me in this capacity. It's my best work. If you only do one session or 1 hour with me, it's just not enough, because I can't do the real work I'm trying to do for you. But in this packaged offer, right, this packaged experience, you're going to have a great time with me, and you're going to get to your results, like pretty guaranteed, right? And that's really going to increase the value of your work, because when you charge for the experience and not your hourly rate, you're charging for a much bigger value of that service and that intimacy, right? And you're promising something you can do, right, in an amount of time and an amount of a duration and an experience that you can stand behind. But if you're charging hourly, right, the customers don't value that hour. They don't get it, right? They don't know, and it's not even just the hour that is your worth. I mean, think about the education you've had, the years of experience you've built, your knowledge base, right, your expertise. What about all those years of, right, like really getting shit done in your life, which has caused you to now be an expert, to have caused you to now be awesome at what you do. And people need to pay for that value. And then you're going to value yourself more. You'll charge great prices, and your clients will be happy because they get great results, right? And they're working with someone high quality, right? And you're making sure that experience of your offer reflects on that high quality, right? Rather than allowing people to choose hourly, because they don't know what they want. They don't know what causes them to get to results. You do. You're the expert. So painting that picture ahead of time into, right, that offer that you are selling and marketing, that's going to tell them what it takes to really go through that process with you. So if you look at offers, right, like an option here, option A is general hourly coaching, right, versus option B, a packaged nutrition program that gets you to clean eating and a healthier you in 90 days, right? Which option sort of feels more attractive, right? General hourly coaching could be anything can happen in that hour. Where do I start? Or is it specifically a program that gets me to the result of clean eating and a healthier version of me in 90 days, in a specific amount of time, right? That's more attractive for a buyer, right, or a client to say yes to, rather than just general hourly coaching or general consultancy. So having a signature offer also helps you to gain predictable income, and it lets you sell in a simpler way. Now, predictable income is a huge piece for a business owner, because you want to know that you're able to make a particular revenue goal, especially when you are a solopreneur, right? You're someone that is trying to replace your full-time job, you have, families to feed, right? Like, you want to ensure that the way that you're making an income can feel that you can rely on that income every single month, right? But if you're charging hourly, you have no idea how many hours someone might say yes to, right? But if there's a particular offer that's packaged, is priced accordingly, that each customer pays that price, and it's a much bigger price, you may not need to work with as many clients because you're offering higher end, higher quality experiences. And so you might only need 1 or 2 clients a month to really make your revenue goal, because they're paying for the value of the experience rather than hourly. And each client equals X amount of hours or X amount of your dedication of time, right? So you can plan your days more accordingly. You can know how many customers you should be having to make your revenue goal, and you're going to know how many customers are enough, right? You don't need to take on any more if you don't need to. But the simpler way to sell piece is that when people go, why should I work with you? What do I get? You're not going to be vague and nebulous. You're going to know. You're like, hey, we start here. Here's the things that we solve for you. Here's the things that we do for you. And you end up here. And it only takes you 3 months, 2 months, something like that, whatever it is, to get there, right? And it really gives your clients a really clear picture about what they're really buying. And then when they know what they're buying, right, there's a better reason for them to pay for it. They're clear. And that's going to be super important for them to have less of a guessing game, and for you to also have less of a guessing game of what it is that you offer. So your offer really deserves a framework. And what a framework is a process. It's a process and a system that gives predictable results clients can count on. And it also makes your work with every client that comes through the door super easy, because you use the same process. You use the same system. People are buying a system from you. They're not buying your hours. They're buying an approach. They're buying, right, this A to B process, right, that you've designed for them so they can get there quicker. That's why they're hiring you. So that predictability of results is going to be awesome for things like your credibility and having great testimonials for your work every single time, right? But it also gives you the confidence to perform that offer or to make that offer work for each and every client because there's structure there, right? You're not just taking on a client and going, okay, where do we start? How do we start with each client? And having to begin over and over again, right? That's not going to be productive for your time. So that framework of really outlining what it is that you do for your clients to get them to results is so important in making your business valuable for people. So my question to you today, and you can answer me in the chat box, is do you know how to get your customers or potential customers from A to B? So when you say that you want to start a business, have you taken the time to really outline how you're going to get them from A to B? And what are the approaches, whether they're tools, modalities, strategies that you're going to take in order to make sure they get from A to B? Have you done that? If you haven't, I would love for you to get started and tell me what it is that you would need to find out to really know your framework. And if you have done it, I would love to know how you are articulating this to your clients. You have that process, that framework somewhere on your website, right? Do you use templates or an SOP, right? Or a checklist to help make sure that your clients get the same process every single time, right? And if you definitely don't know, if you have no idea how to get your customers from A to B, this is a good time to do it because that's really going to fill in the gaps about the confidence that you need, right, to start your business. But it's also going to make sure that you know how to price and package that experience appropriately because you really know what it is that you're going to be doing to get them there. So having a signature offer and having the framework within your signature offer is going to create boundaries for your work, which is really important because that defines your scope of work and you know what you do and don't do in your services. You can say yes and no to the right clients. You know exactly where to find the right clients for that kind of scope of work. And you aren't over-promising things and you're doing things in the the structure of what you are best at doing, and you're not doing anything you don't want to do just because you think you have to do it, right? And it allows you to really specialize, as I said before, and specialization is is gonna help you to market more easily and get customers to find you more effectively. And as a new business owner, when you're just building your audience, when you're just getting found by a group of people, that is so important to not confuse people about what you do and get really specific on the boundaries of your work, right? And everyone's really clear of what they're buying and why you're the right person to help them with that exact problem. Super important. And then lastly, essential step number 4 is to gain visibility. After you've done your signature offer, after you've pinpointed the right customer and and knowing what problems to solve, and right, that first essential piece of like standing tall in your foundations, why you're starting your business, why your business should exist, and why people should care. Now you're ready to get out there, right? Tell people about the mission that you've got behind your work, right? Showcase your signature offer to the right people that should be working with you. And that next thing here that you're going to be doing is really getting seen, getting out there and putting yourself into the public world to start to share, teach, and give away your genius so that people can start coming to you and attracting people, right, into your business and hopefully filtering out the right people to be working with you. And so when you're in the stage of visibility and marketing, and again, just reading some of the chat boxes here, we've got, introverts here, we've got a high extrovert as well. We've got all sorts of different people. I'm an ambivert in general. Everyone is so unique in the way that they go out there and communicate about their business. In general, humans are different in how they influence and what strengths that they utilize to be clear in their communication. Right? So when you're in the stage of visibility, this essential step of launching a business, gaining, right, eyeballs on your business, you want to really just not take on any marketing strategy. You want to really think long and hard about emulating, using your natural way of communication and influence in real life, like how you talk to your colleagues, how you find friends in real life. Like the way that you are in your personal life should reflect on the style of how you also market, a way that you communicate in your business. And you have some natural strengths. Like, for example, like I said before, I work with about like 80% introverts in my business. Introverts have a really cool way to actually stand strong in their quiet power. When someone works as an introvert and they love working with introverts is because introverts have this sort of deep consideration that they take before they answer any questions. Their content are usually longer form. They're not sort of like quick and dirty answers. They take some time to take a pause, right, to be considerate. And then when they answer a question, whether it's through a blog post or a video or a podcast or whatever it is that their format is, it's usually a very deep dive, a longer, right, really clear, valuable answer. And that's why introverts are really lovely. They take that time to do so. And then extroverts are really good at the quick and fast answers for the right people that want to have that sort of like, you know, someone that's confident and gets out there and they know what they're saying. They're quick and fast in those answers, and they're direct and specific. And then extrovert can really play and leverage that strength for the right people that like that kind of quality, right? But for the introverts, it'll be a very different type of style. They may not do as much their impromptu stuff. They might actually write longer blogs. They might actually be better with deep conversations, right, in a podcast rather than a 5-minute live stream. They're doing 1-hour podcast episodes, or they're better interviewers, right? They're better case study showcasers. They're less of the sort of like, you know, guru influencer type, right? So everybody's so different in the way that you should be influencing and communicating to your audience that we want to think about that style first, right? And be honoring that style first before we start to choose which platforms you should be on, right? Some people are just not great on live streams. They should never do them because it's just not part of their personality. It's not their genius zone, and people can feel that, and it's icky, you know? And some people are better writers than others. Some people are better teachers. Like I love to teach. And so I do a lot more webinars as my marketing, tool than most other things. I run workshops live formats, and that's so much better traction for me to gain clients and attract people than just a 5-minute little video that I can never talk for 5 minutes. It's always like at least an hour. So that's my style. And I think we want to honor that, you know, kind of style for you too. So how you spread the word about your business and work is so personal to you. So I want to ask you this question. How do you connect and influence powerfully in your life right now or in work right now? And how can you use and emulate that style into the platforms or marketing strategies that you want to choose? And again, if you're here joining me live, would love for you to share that in the chat box of what do you think your way of influence and marketing is like that leverages your personality, right, and your natural style, and what type of marketing activities that you've seen out there best suits that style. And I want you to pick one. And I want you to think about only really mastering that one way of marketing, because that's going to get you further, right, than actually trying to be in like 5 different places or taking on 5 different strategies that will overwhelm you. Choose one way of marketing, and I swear to God, you will get a lot more traction that way than ever. So one part of visibility is also this part that people really miss. They get, which is your story, right? They get so caught up in things like email marketing and funnels and website and, you know, putting my Facebook channel up together that they forget that actually they need to just take a pause, and instead of just setting up platforms and marketing platforms and writing those, you know, email sequences and whatever it is that you think you have to do, is really think about like, how do I want to talk about my work? How do I want to talk about my purpose? How do I want to talk about the way that I want to converse? How do I want to converse with the people that I want to help, right? And one of the biggest parts of what sets you apart will be your story. That needs to be one of the primary things in your marketing, whether it's in your about page or, in a quick little video on your homepage, or it's the first thing you start with when you introduce yourself to a client. Like, your story really matters in helping people understand why you do the work you do and why you're the right person to help them. And your story is also the one differentiator that literally no one else has, because no one else has lived your life. So that's the part that's going to make people remember you. Humans are so activated by story. You know, we share concepts, we bond through story. We've done this through right? Even in the tribal days, right? And it's no different today. People are attracted to people that they can resonate with, that has a story just like theirs. They can look at that story, be inspired by it, and when they remember someone that can help them with a problem, you will stick out a lot more, right, when you use your story than just only banging the drum and selling just your offer, okay? So don't forget to think of why you start what you start. We talked about this as essential step number one, right? Why your business exists and why should people care? How do you infuse that into the story of how you started your business? And stories are really great because it helps people to identify like what you learned along the way when you make mistakes and how that has now translated, right, to the solution and the offer that you're creating for them. That is so much bigger of a message to sell your offer, right, than just talking about how many sessions they get and what it is that they get. So I want you to think about marketing as a conversation, right? Marketing doesn't always have to mean things like funnels and automation and all those sort of like technology-driven, confusing things that sometimes, God, I'm still confused about half that shit that's out there in the digital world. But the most important thing that's really behind every marketing engine is the conversation, right? So think about what are the conversations that you want to start that's worth sharing to your tribe? What are conversations that are beyond just your offer? What are conversations really related to your purpose and the message and the mission that you stand behind? What other interesting topics that are your deep interests that are also could be in alignment with deep interests of your clients? Those are the types of content, that's the kind of attraction pieces that's really going to help you bring in the clients than just selling your offer. So I know that going from employee to entrepreneur isn't easy to do alone, and I'm glad you're joining me today to do this. And I know that it can feel really lonely building a business that you've never built for the first time. There's so many gaps of information, gaps of knowledge, right, that you would love to get some support on so that you can get that thing done already, so that you can stop overthinking, talking yourself out of things, and really just get those fast answers that you need in order to really just get going on focusing on the right things that matter to launch your business. So today I'm announcing actually a reinvention of a program I used to run 2 years ago called the 90-Day Launch. I did this with a small group before, but what I've realized from taking on private clients for the 90-Day Launch process is that it's so much more effective. Groups are great, but there's something really intimate about launching, something really intimate about finally putting your work out there. It's a nerve-wracking stage. And because, again, most of my clients are introverts, the preference for needing to do this privately and to get customized answers and personalized processes was so important to the success of launching that business. So the 90-Day Launch is really something I've been teaching for 5.5 years in terms of the process, right, my own framework. But this time, is doing it with private clients and giving them access to a community instead. So really, if you're wanting to learn how to a step-by-step roadmap, right, to go from idea to launch, it's a 3-month online coaching program with me personally that I help with you as private calls to support you to create a plan to launch your purposeful business and make an impact in the world. So the 90-Day Launch is really different because it's actionable, right? It's not just a bunch of passive consumption of information and videos and worksheets. They're actually something that I make sure that you are accountable to action on every single week, and they're bite-sized steps so you don't get overwhelmed. And you know exactly what comes next. You're really feeling confident and structured in what you're building and how you're building your business, right? That imperfect action is what we're really relying on to make sure that you're moving forward with incremental effort rather than being a perfectionist and never launching your business ever. It's also really personal and human because the part of putting your good work out there, you're not just putting out any work, you're putting out work that's meaningful to you. That's something that comes from your story, something that you feel, like there's a deep why behind your work. And that's what makes it scary because it's so personal. And so because your work is so unique to you, right? I believe that your launch strategy of course, needs to be personal to you as well. So the 90-Day Launch program is one-to-one, is specific to you guidance. It's not like this paint by number style. I work with you personally to plan out your launch steps in a way that feels human to you. It plays up your strengths, right? You're not doing anything that doesn't feel right for you in your values or your personality. So that's going to be enjoyable, right? And fulfilling rather than something you're trying to fit yourself into, right? Like a square peg in a round hole kind of deal. And, introverts rejoice. You don't need to be like extroverts to do this either, and extroverts rejoice. You can have your style of how you want to launch and how you want to do this the right way. It's also really collaborative, right? So it's not a Lydia tells me what to do and I do it kind of program. It's really something that I'm training you to start thinking for yourself, to help engage you and coach you on extracting some of that information and your own strategies of how you want to design this business. Because when you can do that, then you can be proud of the business you've designed. That every piece of the business, whether it's from the offer to the marketing plan to the customers you attract, like everything you design in your business came from you, right? And most importantly, it's different because of the head and heart. We use logic and our strategic brains to make things happen, but we are inspired in the actions of the heart, right? That means that we're creating and launching your business in a way that feels right for you. It feels in alignment with your values. It feels in alignment with the lifestyle choices you want to have. It feels in alignment with the business model that you want to build, right? That is more about you than just about what else is going on out there and copying somebody else. And that's a really, really hugely personal and intimate piece of the 90-day launch. So in a nutshell, these are the 4 launch phases. You'll see more about this if you went down underneath this video. There's an offers button. If you click there, it'll bring you to our info page, and you can see a lot more about what we cover in the course and in the program and why. The 4 launch phases is first phase is grounding. You need to ground your business, right? Like I said about building that house, it needs to have a solid foundation. You need to build your house in a solid structure. Know why you do what you do and why people should care in order to talk about it, in order to generate those leads and tribe members to back your work. And in order for you to do good work, you need to ground your mission, your vision, and your message. So we're going to develop that for you, right? We're going to know what your mission is. We're really going to know what your vision is for your work, not just for today, but for the future. And what's the right, clear message to articulate so that you're attracting the right people and you're positioned uniquely in the market, even when people do what you do. We're also going to identify the transformation you offer, not just, again, this like job title or business type or style. We're going to really understand what it is that you really do for people that causes their life to change, that causes this ripple effect transformation that isn't always very obvious to talk about. And that's going to put some heart into your business and attract the people as well. And then we're going to build a business from your strengths. I'm going to be working with you to figure out what are your best strengths in how you operate in your business so we can design a model of working that really leverages those strengths and natural talents that you already have. And then the second phase is to serve. We want to know how we're going to create the right solutions and the right problems to solve for the right people, right? Remember, your best niche is right person, right problem, right solution. So we're going to align your work on what you think you have to do, right? With the right problems that you need to solve, and also align that with the right customer. And we're going to do that by me teaching you how to do real market research that works, where you get to ask your customers ahead of time before you spend time, energy, and money creating anything at all to sell, is to really know exactly what it is that people will buy, right? How to create these conversations to make things holistic, make things natural and authentic, and it's not salesy, right? We don't want that. We want you to be able to start conversing with people in a way that's helpful and valuable, where both parties are giving something to each other. And when we can do that right together, we can then find the right niche for you. You'll know exactly how to position your business and how to talk about your work. That's going to be super clear for people. And then the third phase is creating. We're going to then create one of my most exciting phases, right? Designing your framework. What it is that you do, how do you do it? What modalities, what tools, what knowledge bases? Like, how do we create this map and this process of your work? Like, really have a system that you're selling so that things are valuable and you can charge more money, right? For a better quality experience for your clients. And from that framework, we can then create your signature offer. What it is that you are known for, what it is that people pay for, that is the entire experience of what they came for, and the results are going to be awesome, right? You can really stand by that. And then we'll be able to package and price your offer. You'll know exactly what you make per client. You'll know exactly how to sell that offer in a packaged way that's going to give more value to your clients than just an hourly or by session kind of product. And then lastly, we're going to launch your business together, right? We're going to extract what your brand story is and use it in various ways of a connection tool to market and build your audience. And really big piece of, right, being a new entrepreneur is being able to build credibility, right? As a new entrepreneur, you don't have a lot of clients under your belt just yet. So we want to build your credibility by developing content that really matters, right? Content is king when it comes to attracting global clients to your website, finding new clients, right? Attracting the right people that should be buying from you. Content is what's going to help you. And content is not just blogs. It could be YouTube channel. It could be things you're marketing on your Instagram channel. It could be teaching webinars like this or a podcast. We want to figure out where it is that you should be sitting, where should you be, right, creating a voice, which platform, and what the hell kind of content really is going to attract the right people to your business, and how will you do this in a manageable way, right, in a productive way in your days. And that's going to lead us to a really exciting piece of developing your 90-day marketing plan, so that you know after you've graduated from the 90-day launch, you have another 90 days of a marketing plan. You know exactly how to get yourself out there. You know exactly what to talk about, how to sell your business and your offer, and how to attract clients that you really want to work with. And most importantly, to do it your way, to do it in a way that's your personality and in the values that you have. So the 90 days we spent together is to create and launch your business through 6 private coaching calls with me. So I work with you one-on-one together to support you strategically and personally. And all calls are recorded so you can listen back, and you have access to me in between the calls. So if you've got a quick question, you've got something you want my eyeballs on for feedback, you want me to review something, you have like some, maybe you're feeling a bit nervous or doubtful about some work that you've done in between the sessions, you can get a hold of me right away. You don't have to wait. And that is so effective in making sure you're not drowning in perfectionism and you're not talking yourself out of things. You have me as a resource and a source of, clarification to make sure that you get the answers you need to move forward with. You'll also get a lifetime access to the Launch Academy course, which is the 4 phases I just mentioned of creating and building a business. This includes videos, training, and worksheets. Now, I know that everybody learns differently. So this marriage of coaching calls, right, privately with the course, right? You'll do one module of the course first before we book a call. And it sort of works like that. You watch a module, then you do the work, you get some meaningful, right, understanding on it first yourself. And then when we get on the call, we can really dive into it, and there's some depth in the calls that we do, and really make sure that stage of what we're doing for your business is really meaningful, right, for your business as well, right? And so having sort of a structured way to learn first through the course, and then being able to apply the work, and then come on a call with me and make that work mean something to your business, that has been huge in my other clients being able to launch a business in 90 days. Because if you just do a course, sometimes it's about the accountability. Just won't do it. You get questions. There's nuance in everything, right? And so I want to help you to discern that. I want to help you to make sure that you get your unique questions answered, okay? And then lastly, you get access to the Cubicle Crashers community. This is a very small group of people that I've worked with in retreats or other programs in the past that are actually clients of mine from before and ongoing. So these are people that know what you're going through. These are people that get the concepts of how to launch and create a business. And it's your counsel, right, of people that you can share ideas, swap ideas, get feedback, and really find support of other people that don't think you're nuts for trying to launch something amazing and not be in corporate. Like, it's hard to sometimes tell your friends and family about what you're doing because they don't get it, and you want like-minded people that are doing the things you're doing, that are going out there being brave to reinvent their lives and do better work and start this independent way of making a living. And it's not easy to explain why that's important to people that don't value that. So this community where I'm involved in, and again, your fellow Cubicle Crashers, are going to be great support systems for you there as well. And then lastly, there will be some bonus interviews. And these are really in-depth interviews I've done with some excellent experts like Pam Slim, who's an awesome person that you start with actually in the first module in creating your first, your business mission. I talked to Sarah Cook as well, which is someone that has create sold out offers for clients and designing a guest program for your clients. I talked to Diane Hopkins, right, about overcoming imposter syndrome, right? And there's so many things that we do in the expert interviews that will really deepen your understanding of the subject and really provide some extra resources, right? That's going to allow you to start thinking about some of the obstacles and hard things in launching a business differently. right? Crafting your brand story, really go into that as well. So everything makes sense in the guest interviews with the modules, and it's also to enhance your learning abilities if you really love stories and interviews as well. And then the two bonus courses I'm going to throw in for you is the sales page creation training, which is going to be helpful for you to create a sales page for your offer, and then designing an irresistible incentive. And that's going to be things like your opt-in, or what some people call a lead magnet, that's really going to help people to find you, right? You're going to be able to attract, giving away something of value to be able to give you a chance as a new business owner, and to be able to build an audience for your list, right? To be nurturing and engaging forward as a business owner. So if you're interested in working with me on this, I only take on several people a month because it's such deep dive work and it's one-on-one that I can't work with a huge group. And that's why this program is really effective to get results. But I don't have a huge amount of slots available, but it's really for really motivated people that are willing to start today or in the near future. And I want to make sure that we are the right fit, because I only take on a few people. A lot of my world is really invested into building these businesses for you. And I want to make sure we're a good fit. So I don't take on any clients, and I don't expect any clients to pay me until we make sure we can have a relationship and that I can truly help your business. And it gives me a chance to really find out, right, a bit more about you and the business you're trying to start. And then we can talk about how I can help. So if you go again to the offers button below, you can click on the button, and then I'll take you to the info page, and then there's a button there to book a call with me. You can apply without depositing anything because I want to make sure that we're a good fit before we actually invest in each other. And there are payment plans available for people that need that, for people that can make it financially easier and comfortable for them as well. But this is going to be a 90-day program that basically we're working every single week. So the 4 modules, we're going to work in the first 2 months together. Every 2 months, we're going to have, every 2 weeks, we will start a new module and do our coaching sessions together. And then on the last month, there's no learnings, right? No video learnings to go into, but we will still have our calls bi-weekly to ensure that you're implementing that 90-day launch marketing plan. That will be the end one of the end goals, right, that we have in the program. So this is an excellent program to come into to get that personal coaching, to get that mentorship that's customized for your business type, and for you to gain that knowledge to feel confident in creating a business that's going to work for you, that's going to bring in the profit and the purpose that you want to experience in replacing your job, right, or building the autonomy and flexibility in your work life. And again, if you click on that button underneath this video under offers and you get into the info page, right away you'll be able to apply for a call to talk to me anytime, right? And because again, we have limited spots, right? I'm only taking about like 3 to 4 clients a month for this because I dedicate a huge amount of my time to you guys. So I don't have a huge amount of slots available until the end of summer. So if you are interested to do this before the summer, it's great to at least apply now so we can get you going on a specific start date that we can work together. And then you have intention put into place and you're able to really make this a real reason for you to get started as well, right? Which is really important for not dragging your feet and drowning in your perfectionism of starting a business. So I'm really looking forward to everyone that applies. I'm really looking forward to working with meaningful people to build excellent businesses that really impact the world and ensures that you get this lifestyle freedom that you want by doing really good work that matters to other people. Okay, thank you so very much for joining me, you guys. It's been amazing to talk about this, and thank you for engaging and giving me some awesome questions and feedback about everything that we're doing here today. And I really look forward to looking at your work into the world as well. Okay, bye everyone.